So, if you're watching this video, it's quite likely that you're on the path of productivity, as I would call it. And I think you're making a really good choice being on this path. And I generally think that the idea of self improvement or self development is extremely important in life. And we shouldn't get complacent with the circumstances we are in. We shouldn't accept all kinds of barriers to just be the barriers they are. I mean, the barriers they seem, so they're not insurmountable, unless, of course, very grave things happen in your life or you have a terminal disease. There's always room for improvement. And I'm glad you're trying to be more productive and that you see the many problems of modern society and internet and the interests of big companies, of big corporations to have you as distracted as possible. So that's a great thing. But I actually want to talk about something today um, that bothers me sometimes, and that is when productivity actually becomes a problem instead of something good. So it becomes negative instead of being something that serves you. So what I want to mention specifically, because I think there are two forms of productivity that can be bad, and one of them is very obvious, is when you're being too productive. So when you're when you're overworking yourself and this this just leads to burnout and health problems, and it usually happens when people are employed at some place and they have no control over their stress levels and over their work. Well, even as a freelancer, you can have problems with your work-life balance and like the pressure, things you need to get done in time. Um, but yeah, that's something I could make videos about, but that's probably talked about quite a lot already. Um, but the other thing is actually, I think, something that I struggle with more, and that is like the feeling of guilt. It's like productivity guilt. So when you feel like you've not been productive enough, or you've not done, let's say you do typically do 5 things a day you find very important, and you spend some hours on that, and some days you might not be able to do that. um and I think for a lot of people, not everyone, and I think you're really blessed if you never feel this, but for a lot of people it's kind of hard to accept that when they have like made this mental connection between feeling good and being productive, it's easy to feel bad when they're not being productive. And I have that feeling. I know how to put it into perspective, and I know how to deal with it, so to say. But I realize this might be a big problem for, especially for people who are starting out, or people who are doing a really good job with self development, productivity, but might not understand their mental health well enough. So I'm going to talk about solutions in another video. But I just want to I want to talk more about this aspect of um, feeling this guilt. So let's say you wanted to do, let's say you're learning Japanese like I do. And let's say you wanted to do 200 flashcards today, just a random number. And for various reasons, you haven't been able to do that. Usually, when it's something you feel good about, like going for a walk, or you're going to spend time with a friend, or you're going to the gym and you take longer, and in the end, at the end of the day, you have not accomplished everything you wanted. That's like a light version of this feeling. But when you're actually, for example, you're wasting time reading the news and doing other pointless things, um, then it becomes quite a problem. Um, Also, I'm not saying all these things are pointless. Like, it's not pointless to read the news, even though I prefer not to do that. It's not pointless to watch a movie. But it has to be embedded in a structure that gives you a good life. Like usually, um, people who come from a background of depression, anxiety, or people who might be unemployed or they might have health issues. They I think they benefit from self improvement a lot because it gives structure to to their life the way a job would, for example. And these are all topics to talk about later. But essentially, what I wanted to say, it's quite likely that if you're into self improvement, you have struggled with being productive in the past. For example, maybe now or in the past that you had to, you were a college student, and unlike a workplace, you had a lot of like long-term tasks, like writing an essay for the end of the semester, and that's something you already need to do work for a month in advance. Well, that's very hard for a lot of people, especially with all the distractions nowadays. um, and then often, like, you wanted to have like this procrastination, you had this procrastination behavior, and you just postponed everything that was important because you could postpone it and then you could watch your Netflix series. But then at the end of the day, literally, like at the end, in the evening, after on a Saturday, and you wanted to go to the library and do good things, work on on this essay or whatever it is, and then it's the end of the evening and you've done nothing and you've only watched Netflix. Well, that's a really bad feeling. Um, and I think it might have to do, like, this problem of feeling guilt about not being productive might have to do with things like that, things you have experienced in the past or experiencing right now, if you're not very, like, on the right track yet with improving your life or getting your life together. So I think that's pretty much the root cause of why you feel bad if you're not productive. Because I think in life you're supposed to be productive in a way. Like, that's also something that makes you feel good. uh, Doing hard things makes you feel good, like it's the dopamine story. um, but yeah, it's not good if you're feeling bad about yourself. uh, in various degrees, people may experience this problem. But if you like really beat your like, I'm not sure 100% sure improvise how to say this in English, but if you beat yourself down for not doing your tasks, I mean, that's usually a problem in life. And if you do that at your job, you're gonna get fired at some point. So there has to be a balance between being productive and also taking time off and making sure your mental health is okay. And I'm going to talk about that in the next video, how you could, well, balance some things. But I just wanted to introduce the topic, and I hope you enjoyed my view on this.